Well, good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Classrooms are getting more complex, and we're seeing more incidents of aggression almost every day. Teachers and parents have made it clear that this is a growing issue in Alberta schools. A big part of classroom complexity can come from mental health challenges that aren't being addressed. To address this issue and help with classroom complexity and aggression, the Government of Alberta is providing $69 million over 3 years for the Mental Health and Wellbeing Grant. This funding, originally provided in Budget 25, will give schools the tools and resources that they need to support student mental health. I want to explain a little bit more about how this new investment will help students and schools and how it fits into our larger plan to make classrooms safer and more supportive. First, I want to talk about the Mental Health and Wellbeing Grant itself. The $69 million will go to all school boards to help schools improve access to mental health services for students. School boards will get resources based on their enrollment levels, base funding, and local needs. This grant builds on the success of the Mental Health in Schools pilot project, which ended last year. That project tested new ways to support student mental health, and we saw that targeted supports make a real difference for students, and this new funding will help even more students across Alberta. This funding also supports recommendations from the Aggression and Complexity in Schools Action Team report, making sure every student gets timely access to a range of supports that help them learn and stay healthy. Now I'd like to talk about how this investment helps us address classroom complexity. More specifically, we know that classrooms today are more complex than ever before. Teachers are dealing with different learning needs, more aggression, and rising mental health challenges among students. All of this puts a lot of pressure on teachers and affects student learning. The Mental Health and Wellbeing Grant is flexible and sustainable, so school boards can use it in ways that work best for their students. To help with classroom pressures, school boards can use the funding for things like training staff in social emotional learning, trauma-informed practices, and violence threat risk assessment. Can also be used to bring in wellness coaches or counselors for in-school mental health support. It can be used to hire a teacher for a CASA classroom and many other initiatives. Up to 20% of the grant can be allocated by school boards for personalized individual supports, like specialized counseling, psychologists, or behaviorists, and other specialized assessments. By investing in mental health supports, we're giving schools practical tools to help ease the pressure that teachers face, and, of course, help students thrive. These resources will make classrooms less complex by addressing some of the root causes of aggression and learning challenges, allowing teachers to focus on what they need to be doing most, teaching students and focusing on learning. With flexible funding and a range of support options, we're building safer, more supportive classrooms where every student has the chance to succeed and grow. In closing, by investing in student mental health and addressing classroom complexity, we're helping students build resilience. We're helping them do better in their school, and we're helping them to reach their full potential. I encourage all school boards and education partners to use these new resources, work with other community supports that may be available, and as always, as I know they do, keep student well-being at the center of everything that they do. Together, I'm confident we can create classrooms where every student can succeed, no matter what challenges they may face. Thank you, and it's now my pleasure to invite Sandra Palazzo, Chair of Edmonton Catholic Schools, to share a few remarks.
Good morning, and thank you, Minister Nicolaides. When we read headlines announcing additional funding aimed at supporting our increasingly complex classrooms, we can't help but smile. And when that investment strengthens the well-being of our students, it is truly music to our ears. Today's announcement is exactly that. On behalf of Edmonton Catholic Schools, I extend our sincere appreciation for this timely announcement. The Mental Health and Wellbeing Grant reflects a significant and commendable commitment to addressing one of the primary factors contributing to rising classroom complexity. It represents a meaningful investment in both our students and the dedicated professionals who guide them each day. Educators tell us that students' mental health continues to shape the classroom in profound ways, and this funding provides essential supports to help address those challenges. After 40 years in education, I'm fully aware that if you want to know what's truly happening in our schools, just ask the students. For this reason, our Board of Trustees and Administration meet with high school students several times each year, and their insights are candid, thoughtful, and inspiring. At our most recent meeting, they reminded us that wellness is the foundation for everything they do. They spoke about how deeply they value their mental health and how essential it is to their success. They also shared that as classrooms' needs grow more complex, the demands on educators increase, recognizing that well and supported staff are better equipped to continue their work with strength and capacity and renewed confidence. Today's announcement marks an important step in alleviating some of these pressures. As mental health needs grow in schools, timely access to supports such as counselors, mental health therapists, and trusted experts and staff becomes increasingly vital. We know that student mental health needs exist along a continuum requiring varied and responsive supports. The continuum of supports, a multi-tiered system of intervention, helps schools promote well-being for all students while providing targeted interventions for those experiencing greater challenges. The flexibility offered through this grant allows schools divisions to direct much-needed funding along that continuum, ensuring supports reach students in the most effective and timely ways. Thank you once again to our Honourable Minister and the Government of Alberta for investing in student mental health and well-being, as it is an investment in the holistic development of our students and in their future. We are deeply grateful for this announcement and look forward to our continued collaboration to reduce complexity and create a learning environment that contributes to the success of every student. Thank you.
All right, folks, thank you very much. We'll just go with the just raise your hand if you have a question. One question, one follow-up. We'll have plenty of time to get around. So I saw Cindy's hand first. Go ahead.
Sorry, Minister. I wanted to ask about, so now you have the class size complexity data that you've collected from schools. You've also heard from 1,600 teachers in your province-wide call. So I'm wondering, where are we at right now in implementing recommendations from that aggression report, and how soon we can see those teachers appointed to the advisory council?
Yes, so we don't have a final timeline as of yet regarding the Teacher Advisory Council, but happy to take the opportunity again to encourage any teacher who may be interested in being a part of that advisory group to send us their details. We are still working at cleaning up some of the data that we've collected back in from our school boards. And we aim to have that information provided in a few short weeks. And we aim to have some of those early decisions about additional resource allocations tied to that data by February of 26.
And my follow-up is off topic, but 2026 is just around the corner. I know that you said the province is currently trying to reach a new deal when it comes to federal childcare. And with that $10 a day childcare mark coming up, I'm just wondering where are we at in finding a deal and some middle ground with the feds?
We are planning an announcement within the next couple of weeks. We do have some news to share in that regard, so I will save that for another day. But yes, we do have some information to share to Albertans regarding continuation of childcare agreement, and I'll be happy to share that in, I think, about a couple of weeks when we have another podium scheduled.
Janet?
Yes, so there's a leaked email from Martin Long circulating online, and in it he says regarding the teachers' strike imposition of back-to-work legislation. In practice, an arbitrator would have likely sought a middle ground between the two proposals, leaving taxpayers on the hook for hundreds of millions, potentially billions in additional costs. And that's why they had to use the notwithstanding clause. So where is he getting this information from? Did you have some kind of analysis that going to arbitration was going to cause some huge spike in costs for education?
Well, I would encourage you to chat with him, of course, directly about his comments. I know that when we look at the notwithstanding clause and the rationale for implementing it, it's quite simple, which I think Minister Long is getting at with respect to his comments there, which is that the elected leaders of this province and the Legislative Assembly need to be the ones to make the final decision, especially on something that can have significant policy and financial implications. Those final decisions should rest with elected officials and not unelected individuals like an arbitrator.
I also just wanted to ask you about the standards for special education, the rewrite of that. Heard from several parents who have children with disabilities, extremely concerned about this process because there's not a formal representative of parents or people with disabilities at the table on this cabinet committee. What would you say to reassure them that those voices are going to be included in this process when you're considering what these standards should look like?
Well, we'll be reaching out, if my office hasn't yet, to Inclusion Alberta. We were actually just talking about this a couple of days ago and finding an opportunity for them to come to the next available meeting. So I believe our next meeting is scheduled for December 11th. I'm not sure if they're formally on the agenda to come to that meeting, but I have asked my team to reach out to Inclusion Alberta and make sure that they are able to participate. If it's not at December 11th, a subsequent meeting. So I do intend to hear directly from them. And I'm confident that we'll get it right. I know obviously in a vacuum there can be some concerns, but we take those concerns seriously. And I'm confident we'll get the right mix, so whereby students can continue to learn in the most optimal conditions.
Sean?
This recall paperwork has been filed to recall the Premier, Danielle Smith. You're also on the list. What do you make of that?
Well, as I've said time and time again, as it relates to my recall, that I think it needs to be used in situations where there's an egregious breach of trust. I saw that a political science professor, I think it was Dwayne Bratt from Mountain Royal University, similarly agreed that these should be used for instances of egregious breaches of trust related to an MLA's core duties. Doesn't seem to be what's happening here. But I'm always happy to take direction from my constituents and voters in Calgaryville.
How do you feel about people targeting the Premier? Do you still support the Premier?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I fully support the Premier, of course. I'm really excited about many of our major developments, including the most recent MOU with Ottawa that we've been able to secure, I think is a major step forward. The healthcare restructuring will take some significant steps forward in reducing wait times and getting more people access to surgeries. And of course, I'm incredibly confident of much of the work that we've been able to accomplish in education. There's still more work to be done, of course, but proud of the fact that we've been able to launch the largest school construction program in recent memory, increase funding to education at historic levels. Again, much more work to do, but really happy with where things are at today.
CTV.
Hey, my name's Connor. Meet in person, good to meet you. I'm curious, do you think that money that was already part of budget 2025 is going to go far enough to alleviate teachers' concerns in terms of classroom complexity? And if so, why was that money not already part of or already allocated?
Yeah, as I mentioned, this was, of course, part of Budget 2025. Of course, heading right out of budget in the spring and into the summer, we're into really detailed collective bargaining negotiations and subsequently a strike. So it was challenging to find the right opportunity to be able to communicate the information. I think this is an exciting moment, though. Previously, dedicated mental health funding was not provided to school divisions. School divisions just came off a period where there was funding provided on a temporary pilot basis. There was no guarantee of that funding continuing. And so in Budget 25 and with this funding, we're able to announce the first time establishment of a mental health and well-being grant. And I think that's a significant step forward in helping to address some of the challenges that we see in our classrooms.
Absolutely. And I apologize, my follow-up is a little off topic.
Sure.
But I remember hearing you mention that you were going to be reaching out to parents of the students at Willowbrae Academy, where there was the person who has fled the country to hear their concerns about not being notified. I was just wondering, have you been able to do that yet?
Yes, I wasn't able to chat with some of the parents myself individually, but they did have a meeting with my chief of staff and my assistant deputy minister, and I've been given a summary of that meeting. Seems like there's some very practical and straightforward recommendations there. So we'll be taking a close look at the Early Learning and Child Care Act and accompanying regulations to see if there's more that we can do and make sure that parents are notified. And I think, in this circumstance, though, I know all of the procedures were properly followed. A concern was brought forward by a parent. An investigation by police authorities began immediately, as this was a criminal matter, and the individual was removed from their place of employment. I understand that the individual has fled the country. I hope police authorities can track and extradite the individual and hold them accountable for their behavior.
Thank you.
We'll go to the lines. Operator, first caller, please.
Your first question comes from the line of Jack Farrell from the Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Hey, sorry, Minister. I wanted to go back to chat about Martin Long's email. When you're saying that, like, it's best if elected officials make decisions rather than arbitrators, does that not imply that there's some fairness consideration there? That it wouldn't be fair to meet in the middle? I'm kind of just hoping you're going to expand on your point there.
Sure. No, what I mean is that when we're looking at a circumstance that could impact government finances to the tunes of billions of dollars and influence and change government policy with respect to classroom management, those are complex considerations that can impact a variety of other areas of government policy and priority. And so those final decisions, I firmly believe, need to be in the hands of elected officials and not independent, unelected arbitrators.
Okay, and follow up same topic. I get your point about the policies, but on the funding side, I'm curious, just if you think that's an admission that schools aren't funded to the degree necessary there. If an arbitrator was to consider that more funding than what the government put forward was needed, are you saying here that that's not fair?
Well, again, I think these decisions, especially significant financial decisions and policy decisions, need to be made by elected officials. I know that our education system is world-class and strong. We score top in Canada with when you look at our latest PISA rankings, and we'll continue to provide increased funding to our education system. If you take an objective look over the past 10 years, the cumulative increased education funding over the course of the past couple of years has been approximately 11.7% of an increase that far exceeds, that exceeds increases, cumulative percentage increases provided under the NDP when they were in government. Our school construction record surpasses that of the NDP. They, I believe, had approximately 46 new approvals in their entirety of their time in government. In 2023 alone, we brought forward 39 new school approvals, which represented the single largest year of school approvals going back to 2014. So we have been moving forward aggressively to approve and build new schools, increase funding, and I'm confident that Albertans will see the results of these significant investments and actions.
Okay, we'll have time for one more. Catherine, go ahead.
Yeah, Catherine Gurkowski, all Alberta. So math is not my strong suit, so I'm hoping you can help me out here. So you're announcing $69 million over 3 years, but on the website it says $25 million per school year through the Mental Health and Wellbeing Fund. So is it $25 million this year and then it will be less in subsequent years, or can you break down those 3 years?
Yeah, it's just because of the school year versus the fiscal year. And so there's always that challenge when we look at dollar amounts and we try to break it out between fiscal year or school year. So that's the discrepancy you're seeing.
Throws me for a loop. And to follow up on Janet's question about inclusion, so you say maybe, hopefully, Inclusion Alberta will be invited, but I guess I'm wondering why there isn't that permanent decision-making seat at the table for people with disabilities and parents of children with disabilities.
Sure. I would just clarify, it's not maybe, hopefully, they will. It's just a matter of if it's going to be this next meeting on December 11th or the next one. So they absolutely will be coming to the committee to present. This is a cabinet committee, so by definition, by structure, the only individuals who can be voting members are cabinet ministers, given the way that we've structured it that way. And the reason we chose to structure it that way was because we wanted to make sure that the group has decision-making ability and authority. And so having the Premier and other cabinet ministers around the table, it gives us the opportunity to make decisions and stronger recommendations to the larger cabinet if necessary. So that's the rationale.
Okay, thanks, folks. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.